Hi, this is William, and welcome to FlySpoke. And do you ever get out on the water and caddis are all over the place dappling, so you throw on an elk hair caddis like this one right here, and a nice tan color, and you get no response from the fish. So you start going through your box and you try a stimulator. Kind of like that. Nothing. And you start really reaching, and you start going for all sorts of flies that might look like caddis. You even then go to a dun color. You throw on a saffet caddis. Nothing. Well, there's a real key to this, and it's how the fish are eating. The caddis that we use and we replicate with a elk hair caddis are dapplers. And they lift themselves off the surface, deposit eggs back down, lift up, go back down, up and down. And the fish have to act really quick to eat them. So there'll be a kind of a violent rush to the fish, and you'll see a splash, and they'll make a take. And then there's caddis that will dive down into the water, and you really won't even much see that. We use emergers and things of that nature to target that type of caddis. But then there's free floaters. And in the middle of all this commotion that's going on, where the caddis are all over the place, if you watch the fish, they're lazily eating, because the little black caddis is a free floater. It literally sits on the water and depositing its eggs. A perfect size is a size 18, so a lot smaller than the 14s and 12s that we use for other caddis imitations. And this one has a really neat reverse wing, mallard wing. It's a great little tie. You should have it in size 16 and size 18 in your box, and I'm going to show you how to tie this one. In the vise I have a size 16 mustad dry fly hook. And like I say, 18s. You'll want to have 16s and 18s. And I'm going to just start by laying down right from the eye of the hook. I am just going to lay down a turn next to turn thread base, going back to the position right above the barb in the hook. And just make nice easy wraps. Let the thread lay open. And I'm just going to give the thread a counterclockwise spin while I'm grabbing the next material to tighten up my thread. And that is going to be some super fine dubbing. It's a waterproof dubbing in black. And I'm just going to take a small quantity and just spin it right onto the thread itself. It's a 72 denier black Danville thread I'm using today. And I'm just going to wind that forward, turn next to turn, and stop right there. Leave some space at the front of the hook. And next I'm just going to take a small to mallard flank feather in black, and preparing it is real simple. I just pull back on the barbules till I make a nice even kind of bulbous look. Just draw back on them very easily, draw back, and what you'll create is a little bulbous end on this side here, and we're going to use that for the wing. I'll trim off later, but I want this bulbous end to be just past the back of the hook, and I pull on it to narrow it just past the back, switch hands, and I'm going to put a loose wrap, and then I'm going to pull straight down a little tight, and I'm creating a tent wing with it. Now, what's very important here is that I wrap a little bit forward and then a little bit back, so that when I trim it, none of these barbules are going to pull out. So I've created a little tent wing. And I can go ahead and trim the back, being careful not to snip off any of those barbules. And then I can trim the front. And as you can see, I've stayed back away from the eye of the hook. And just go in and take out anything that could be in the way later. And you can just brush back and they'll stand up. Take them away. Okay. So now I'm just going to go to the front, clean up, and I'm going to build up this area in the front ever so slightly. Right behind the eye. And then I'm just going to stop right there at the where that mallard feather is tied in. Okay, next, I'm just going to take a couple of bucktail in black, individual pieces. I'm going to inspect them, and I'm going to make sure that they're not too thin, not too thick. And look at the ends of the hairs and the bucktail, and just make a good judgment on a couple of them that seem like they'd be sturdy. You don't want any broken end here. And I'm going to lay one on this side, pull tight and it'll splay out. See how that splayed out? And I'm going to put another one on this side, equal in size. And make sure that it's same length. Right down on the side. Tie back. And I can trim that off. Okay. Now, put your finger on the thread right there, hold it, go in front of, make a wrap. Lift this antennae, keep a wrap there. Okay, again, hold down, go in front, make a wrap. Draw back, make a wrap. And I'm just building up a tiny little bit of thread in front of the antennae, and that'll just keep them slightly splayed. Okay, because that's going to be our tie-off point now, is right here. We're not going to go all the way to the front for a tie-off. Now let's go back. And I'm going to take a dry fly hackle in a natural black, appropriately sized for the fly. And to prepare it, I'm simply going to take it, trim off the fluffy end, and then make two parallel lines, two parallel cuts. One on one side of the stem, the other on the other side of the stem. And what you wind up with is, looks like that. And I'm just going to tie in the tip of that because I want part of the trimmed area in the first turn. I'm going to go to my tie-off spot, grab my hackle plier, and my hackle plier, I put a little double stick tape on the inside of one of the lips of the plier, and that really gives you a much better grip on these tiny hackles. And I'm just going to wind forward. This replicates legs. You don't need a lot. You don't want it, too dense, too bushy. Just enough. And then I tie off right there before I trim my that hackle off. Just make sure the antennae are sticking out a bit. Thread. And just okay. Now if you want to put a little head cement on this, of course you can. You could put a little dab, just a touch, just a tiny little touch. You can put a little bit on the thread when you were winding your finishing thread knots, when you were whip finishing. So I'm just going to take this and I'm just going to put a touch on the bottom. Just a little bit of head cement is all you need to hold it. The Little Black Caddis. Check it out, have a few. Notice next time, and you're going to be really surprised. There it is.